Hey everyone, Michael O'Brien here, and today we're going to discuss 5 reasons that lecture that you attended was a good one. Hello my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Advice for Magicians, where my job is to make you the best possible entertainers that you can be. Now, in today's video, I wanted to discuss magic lectures. And this goes for people that are attending lectures, or if you're considering doing a lecture, I think you should stick around and watch this video because I want to discuss, for me, what I think the top 5 things are that every good lecture should have, right? And so if you're considering putting a lecture together, or if you're looking for some good lecturers to go see, these are some signs, some things that you can look forward to know whether or not you're going to be going to a good lecture. All right, so the first thing that I think every lecture should have is some kind of theme, right? So for me, I did my Penguin Live Act lecture. The theme of that one was magic that can be performed without a table, right? And the reason that I think having a theme is important is because it gives the people that are attending your lecture a reason to want to attend the lecture, right? If I say that the theme of the thing is propless mentalism, right? Well, maybe someone that doesn't care about propless mentalism, they might not want to come and watch the lecture, right? But maybe someone that really wants to learn more about propless mentalism, they're going to want to come to the lecture. They're invested in it because they know that the topic of discussion is something that they are passionate about, right? In the case of my lecture, people were really excited because maybe they're doing walk-around magic, and there's no tables when you're doing walk-around magic, like cocktail event style stuff. Or maybe they're a stand-up performer, but they're not performing behind a table. It's more of like an open mic kind of situation. You come up, there's just a microphone with a stick and your hands, and that's it, and you've got no table to perform on, right? So people that were trying to add pieces of magic to their act, or try to get some more examples of different ways that you can handle these different situations, they wanted to watch my lecture because they knew that the theme of the lecture was something that they were going to be interested in. All right, the next piece, and this is probably the most important one out of all of them, and one that unfortunately a lot of people overlook, and that is having a firm understanding of the subject that you are lecturing on, right? There's been some times that I've gone to see lectures and the person giving the lecture doesn't seem to be 100% sure exactly what it is that they're talking about. Maybe they haven't rehearsed the thing that they're talking about, right? It's one thing to be able to perform a piece of magic very well, but it's another thing to break it down kind of to the very bare bones of the effect, to know the why behind why we do certain things, and then on top of all that, communicate that information to a class of students that are listening to you, right? There's been times where I'm watching a lecture and the person giving the lecture isn't even really sure how the trick works. They're just kind of like, I don't know, you just do this. You just feel it, right? You feel it in your bones, and it does the thing for you, right? Obviously not that bad. I'm kind of exaggerating, but if you ask them, well, how does that move work? They're like, hold on a minute, let me see. And they're like in real time, like doing the move and trying to figure it out. You need to have all of this worked out ahead of time, and you need to rehearse teaching the effect. It's like an offshoot of a performance, right? Because really the lecture kind of is like a performance in a way, except instead of performing the effect, you're teaching the effect. You need to have your whole script written out, your pattern, and everything that you're going to discuss. But instead of a performance, it's a lecture. You're explaining what's going on behind the scenes. And it's very important that not only do you rehearse this, make sure you know how the thing works and why it works and all of this stuff. I would highly recommend doing a test run, teaching some magic to some of your close friends, and then letting them ask you questions, because they might have some questions for you about things that you didn't know. Hey, are you holding that with the left hand this way? Or maybe what if your finger's on top of the deck? Or is your pinky over here? Or how are you holding that, right? Things that you might not have really thought about. You might not have broken it down that small. But these are things that you definitely need to consider. And then of course, just being knowledgeable about the subject at hand. If you're giving inaccurate information, obviously that's very bad. But at the very least, you should have a pretty decent understanding of the things that you're talking about, and not just making it up as you go, right? All right, number 3 is the lecture should be fun and engaging. Some of my favorite lectures are ones where they slip little jokes or gags in for the magicians, things that only magicians would really understand. Again, it's almost like kind of a performance. A really good example of this is David Stone. Now I'm going to talk about a Blackpool lecture that David Stone did like years ago. I think this is probably like 2004, 2005, something like that. But David Stone was teaching his splash bottle, right? So for those of you who aren't familiar, basically this is a holdout gimmick that allows you to produce a giant bottle of wine and or a bottle of champagne or whiskey or beer or whatever you're going to use it for. And what he does is he inflates a balloon, he ties a knot in the balloon, reaches into his pocket, pulls out a pair of scissors, pops the balloon, and a bottle of wine appears out of the balloon, right? You've probably seen this before. He's been doing this for a very long time. And in that lecture, he was teaching how it works and stuff, right? And then when it comes time to, like, you know, perform it again, he's like, okay, so I'm going to do it again for you now. And he goes to perform the effect. He blows up the balloon, he ties it, and he reaches into his pocket, but like, he can't find the scissors, because the scissors that he used to pop the balloon, he left over there on the table on the other side. So he's hitting the balloon with his hand, and he's trying to like pop it, and he's getting frustrated. So he just throws the balloon on the floor, stomps on it, it pops, and he reaches down and he just picks up a bottle of wine and sets it on the table from behind the table. And everyone was just laughing hysterically at this, because obviously that's not how the trick is done, right? But the magicians all knew, he already taught the piece. And then this was sort of like a silly callback to that, where he did the trick and it didn't go right, and then, you know, it's like a silly gag or whatever, right? Like little things like that could really make it fun and engaging. You don't want to be doing a very drawn out, boring corporate boardroom meeting feeling lecture, right? Where everyone's just like falling asleep and, you know, they're taking notes with their pencils, but like you think they're taking notes, but then you look and they're like doodling. Like, you don't want them to feel like they're stuck in a boring lecture. You want them to have fun, because the more fun they're having, the higher the chances are that they're going to be engaged and actually giving a crap what it is that you're lecturing about. Number 4, this is probably another one of the most important aspects of the lecture, and that is to give the people in your audience something to take away without necessarily needing to like purchase anything from you. There is some people that will do lectures that are more akin to a dealer dem, right? Basically what a dealer dem is the person performs their tricks, they show you how they work, and then they go, all right, if you guys want to buy that, I got it right over here on the table. After the lecture, you come see me and you can buy the trick. Now, there's nothing wrong with selling the magic that you are performing in your act, but you definitely don't want to be doing a dealer dem. And basically, if the audience isn't learning anything outside of, oh, well, now I know how the trick works, that's not a very good lecture. You want to give them lessons, things that they can apply to the magic they're already performing without necessarily needing to buy anything from you, right? So for example, maybe you're teaching, I don't know, like some kind of hard to pocket routine or something, and there's an interesting moment of misdirection that happens in there. Teaching that interesting moment of misdirection and using it in other examples and explaining you can use it in this way, you can use it in that way. You don't have to do it exactly the way that I did. If you want to do it that way, here's this product, but maybe you're already doing this and you can apply this to that piece of magic that you're already doing, right? And so what you're doing is you're giving them these tools that they can apply to things that they're already doing. You want your audience to be walking away from the lecture having learned something more than just how the tricks are done. Last but not least, it is having products for people to purchase. One of the easiest products that you can have for people to purchase are lecture notes. And basically what lecture notes are is a recap of everything that you taught in the lecture, bullet points, things for them to consider, maybe highlighted things that are standout moments during a lecture that, you know, they should go back and kind of, you know, reread. The lecture notes can be in a video form, or they can be like written notes. You can have the books printed, you can have them photocopied and stapled together. whatever you want to do, as long as it's easy for them, you know, to kind of consume. And for me, when I'm doing my lecture, I don't spend a ton of time breaking down every single move. I don't want them walking away from the lecture being able to perform all of the pieces of magic that I just taught them flawlessly, right? What I want is, like I said in the last little segment, I want them walking away with practical advice, having learned something that they can go out and apply to their own magic. Now, of course, I am teaching the magic in full. I'm not saying you don't want to teach the tricks, but I'm spending more time on talking about the why behind why I do certain things. Or, you know, this is the misdirection moment. This is how I do this, you know, rather than, okay, so now you're going to do a double lift. All right, everyone, let's learn how to do the double lift now. You know, like the notes can be the thing that kind of reminds them, oh yeah, this is how I perform. It's this thing and then this thing and then this thing in that order, right? And that's how the trick works. So some lecturers will give the lecture notes out for free as a part of the lecture. If the club or the ring or the circle that is hiring you as a lecturer has it within their budget to purchase the lecture notes from you and give them to the attendees for free, that is probably the best. Otherwise, giving the lecture notes out to people at the end, if you can afford to, for free, or if you want to sell them, that's totally fine. And then of course, having products that you can sell that relate to the lecture that you did. Maybe you taught some of the pieces of magic in your lecture, right? And you showed them how they work. You say, hey, and if you guys want, I have these for sale right over here. You can buy these. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I just want to reiterate again, the lecture should not just be a dealer dumb. You shouldn't just be performing the tricks, teaching how they're done, and then being like, all right, go buy it now, idiots. You know, you want to give your audience something to walk away with. So that's it. That is my 5 you know, things to look out for a good lecture. What are some things that you look for in a good lecture? What are some things you noticed about a bad lecture? Do you guys have any bad lecture stories, things that you should avoid? Please don't name names in the comment section. I'm not trying to single anyone out, especially if it was my lecture that you saw and you thought that it was terrible. Please, I don't want to hear about that. Yeah, I would love to hear from you guys. If you would like to praise some of your favorite lecturers, maybe if you have a favorite Penguin Live, or a favorite Vanishing Ink masterclass or something like that, please feel free to let us know who some of your favorite lecturers are in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.